excited. Play it louder, David. He deserves it. It's a party. Jon Taffer. Hi, Jon.
Hi, Jen. How are you, hon?
I'm so excited to just see you.
Same here. It's great to look in your eyes.
Oh, thank you. You look very handsome. I'm very excited. Marriage Rescue, you know, my listeners know that I've been talking about this show. Sundays, 10 o'clock, Paramount Network. Jon, congratulations.
Thank you, Jenny. Good to see you. By the way, I'm like hooked on Blondie.
Really?
Yes. So my refrigerator is now empty. You and I have to negotiate me getting some more here.
Guess what? You get it for life, my friend.
That's a deal. Nicole loves it.
She does.
Yeah,
I love
so we've been
your
drinking it. And, you know, it's great this time of year because it's so freaking hot in Vegas now.
Right? Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I got to just tell my listeners, you guys have gotten to know Jon a little bit. And I got to tell you, he's one of the most authentic, nicest, generous human beings I've met in a very long time.
Well, you're a sweetie.
It's true.
Yeah, well, you know, being good to you is natural. You deserve it.
Oh,
so you know, we've been friends for a while. We've gotten pretty close these past few months, and I think it's wonderful.
I do too. And this show, Marriage Rescue, congratulations, because it's everything I wanted it to be.
That's great to hear, because you know, I think you and Donnie are a model couple.
Thank you.
So, you know, when I think about couples that I know and people who I really respect, the two of you I think are special for a couple reasons. One, he loves the fact that you're a star and doesn't diminish it.
Right.
You love the fact that he's a star and don't diminish it.
Love it.
And there's such a mutual respect for who you are as individuals within your marriage that I've always had just great respect for you and Donnie as a couple.
Thank you. It means a lot.
And I thought about it a little, even in the taping of Marriage Rescue, when you know, some of the couples had these issues where there's this imbalance between them. Right, and you saw in the episode, you know, when Barrington, when I made him jump out of the plane, was the great equalizer.
It was.
But you know what's wonderful about you and Donnie is this equality, this respect that exists within your marriage that I think is really, really special. It
is. Thank you for saying that. And, you know, it's one of the things that I think you learn as you get older also. Like, I dated enough guys that try to clip my wings. And I think Donnie's had struggles himself. And when we entered our relationship, we had that we both made the same intention. We want to spiritually go forward together and let each other shine.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm holding his string and he flies as the kite. And sometimes he's holding the string and I'm the kite. Yeah. And it is, you're right, it's a wonderful balance. Now, doing the bar rescue and going into Marriage Rescue, I can clearly see why this is a match made in heaven. You have such a gift in telling people exactly what they need. You get right down to it. Whereas, and you mentioned this, and even to some of these couples, you go into therapy and you're there for months and it's just kind of, they're just stroking kind of egos a little bit. There's no nonsense with you. You cut right to it. Did you feel confident enough to know going into this that you can do it?
I did, you know, and I read books on therapy and stuff because it's a big responsibility, Jen. So I did my homework, of course. But I found that, and I'm going to get in trouble when I say this, therapists are so into the freaking process that the process is almost more important to them than the result. So, you know, if you were coming to me as a therapist, I got to see you next week and next week and next week. I need a check from you next week and next week. Right. So I can't go at you that hard or you won't come back.
Exactly, because one of the things that you said was to one of the women, I forget her name, but you go, maybe you're a terrible wife.
Yes. Her name was Kelly. Yes. Now a therapist wouldn't have gone that aggressively. No. So there is no next week with me, and I saw that as an advantage. So in doing my homework, I respect the therapeutic process. I get what they're doing, but I don't think it was right for this situation. So with the knowledge of their process, I did it my way. And you know, there are 6 key elements to a great marriage.
I saw those. Significance.
Yep, significance, love, connection. Right? Continuity, right? You want to believe in each other's future. Growth. Right? A variety. You got to have fun. You got to go out and do things together. And so, you know, I looked at those elements and I saw where the deficiencies were and went at them, of course. But I think the fact that there was no next week is what made it all sort of work.
Right.
And it was intense to see the changes, Jenny. I mean, their body language changed, their face changed, they squirmed a little, you know, they got insulted a little. But here's one part that nobody knows. You will love this.
Okay.
I made them stay in separate rooms, no makeup sex.
That's genius. That's me. That's a rule Donnie and I have.
Yes. So I had PAs outside their door because, you know, you can be fighting like hell, but a little makeup sex, we're cool for 20 hours.
That's right.
But it's a Band-Aid. It's bullshit.
He fucked it up this
Genius.
week.
My girlfriend just said she fucked it up this week. That is 100%. Do you know when me and Donnie got together, we almost did that, and I said, hold on, I don't want to have our bodies get used to having makeup sex because our body will maybe want to fight just to have that heightened sexual.
Wow, that's a good point.
Feeling. So from the day one, we have never had makeup sex. And now we really don't fight that much at all. We work things out. We've done a lot of work. But
well, if you're not going to get sex after fighting, what's the point?
There's no reward.
I couldn't lose the motivation.
I couldn't figure out why we were still fighting a week later, and that's why.
Exactly.
We had makeup sex and nothing was solved.
That's right. That's right.
Well, because it masks it. It's a Band-Aid. And it creates this bullshit, cover over it. But the underlying problem is still there.
100%. You got to work it out. I'm going to plug the show again. Marriage Rescue, Paramount Network. You guys, make sure you guys check it out. It's on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock. I have to ask you because two of the couples were, they cheated in their marriage.
Yeah.
That to me is like one of the most difficult things you could possibly get over in a marriage. I mean, to take those on, I was like, damn, John, that's hard.
It is hard.
One is gaslighting. The girl doesn't, listen and trust that she's hurt. He's like trying to say, I don't trust you now. So let me start with this, because you explained it pretty well on the show. What is it in someone that they need to go do it outside? What are they doing?
We're human beings, and we have needs as human beings. And I'm not being sexual in a sense. We're doing intimacy, closeness, significance. These things that we talked about are important things that you need as a human being. If you don't get them in your marriage, you're going to go out of your marriage to get them because you need them as an individual. You've got to have intimacy in your life somehow, Jenny.
Right.
If you're not getting it from your husband, you're going to find it someplace else.
Right.
Now, you might fake it with your phone and phone calls and have a phone affair, and you're getting intimacy in that kind of a way. But when you cheat on your spouse and step out of your marriage, that's a consequence, not a cause. The cause is what made you go out and do that in the first place. Now, you and Donnie would never do that because you're getting what you need out of your marriage.
Right.
You're getting your significance. You're getting your connection. You got the continuity. Donnie's contributing to the marriage and a relationship. You're growing together. So
correct.
Why would you step out of that? That makes no sense.
And we have great sex.
Yeah. So why would you step out of that and risk all of
true.
that? So when you don't have those things, there's this hole in you.
Yeah.
And it might not be in your heart, it could be in your brain, but there's this unfulfilled need. Now your integrity and your needs are fighting each other. You don't necessarily want to cheat. You don't want to be that human being, right? Because who wants to be a cheater?
Right.
But this need is fighting your integrity every day. And what happens is people don't go back into the marriage to correct it. So the integrity and the fight for sexual need or whatever compete with each other, and eventually the need wins.
Right.
And it justifies itself. Well, she deserves it. Well, she's not this. Well, he's not that. And we start to justify it to ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
So there were so many opportunities to fix it before the cheating started.
Right. But why is it so difficult to communicate that? Like, it's so interesting that, if you're feeling like you're missing a need and you can't just sit down and go, you know what? I'm feeling ignored or not listened to, or you're not present when you're with me, and I'm feeling like it's making me feel alone. Like, why can't we communicate things like that?
Well, it's interesting. Will Donnie look at you and say, Jenny, will he show his moment of weakness and say, Jenny, I need you?
Yes.
See, I will do that to Nicole too. A lot of men won't.
It's vulnerability.
And then it becomes ego. Right now you're in competition with him, right? You're not getting significance. You don't want him to know that you need him. So now you put up an exterior wall because it shows weakness. Now, the minute you show that you need him, he'll weaponize that and use it against you. Now you'll never show that you need him again. So you put up a fake wall. I don't need, right? You don't say it, but you don't show that he needs you. Now he's feeling insignificant because you're not acting like you need him, even though it's his fault because he shut you down when you did say that you needed him. And it becomes just this big fucking mess.
Yes.
And somebody's got to sort it through and say, okay, where's the starting point? Stop.
Right. Totally.
Do you need him? Yes. Tell him so. Don't hurt her for telling you so. Doesn't it feel wonderful when she says she needs you? Yes. Well, then why would you stop her from saying that? I don't know. But, you got to expose them. And, Jenny, sometimes the greatest lessons, I know, because I think I know you pretty well now, some of the greatest lessons you and I have had in our lives is when we see ourselves and don't like it.
100%.
So I have to expose that. Nobody wants to be a cheater. Nobody wants to get divorced. Nobody wants to be a failure in their marriage. Nobody wants to hurt people. Nobody wants this.
No.
But they're stuck in it. So if I can show, and I'll just use you as an example, Jenny, if I could show you something about yourself that you hated and you really saw it, you'd frickin' change it.
100%. And you're right, because some people, like even when you go into bars, they're not aware. You can see that they're not aware of their foibles.
Yes.
And you go, this is what it is. And they're able to have that light bulb moment.
Yes.
Now, when is it okay? I've been in monogamous relationships my whole life. I'd stay in them too long, and I wouldn't cheat. But when is there a time where you'd say, you know what, you should probably divorce? Or would you never say that to somebody?
Oh, no, I think there is a time to say that. And some of the couples that came to Marriage Rescue were sort of in a maybe mode, Jenny. They wouldn't commit to their marriage because things weren't good, but they weren't ready to get divorced either. So they're in the worst place of all, which is maybe.
Right.
I'd rather see you get divorced and go on with your life or recommit to your marriage, but get you out of the maybe. I mean, maybe's the worst thing in life.
Right.
If a maybe becomes a no, we move on.
That's right.
Right? That's a good thing. But as long as it's a maybe, we're freaking stuck.
I mean, I think that's a big part of codependency also.
Yes. But, when you feel that you're not getting what you need within that relationship, those things we were talking about a few minutes ago, and you go to your spouse and you say, listen, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, blah, blah, do you need me? If in discussion you still can't get those things, then you need to leave. Because at some point, your emotions are going to outweigh your own integrity too.
You're 100%.
And you're a loyal girl, and you've been your whole life. But at some point, you need to be loyal to yourself.
I mean, Jon, you're speaking such great truth bombs right now, better than most therapists I've talked to in my entire life. And my best friends on the show are like, oh my God, crying. He's so right. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But
is this because, and do you owe this a lot to your beautiful marriage?
It's funny you say that, Jenny, and I know you know Nicole, and you two have become friends. After Marriage Rescue, I realized how good my marriage was, to be honest with you. Now, I thought I had a great marriage, don't get me wrong, because like you and Donnie, Nicole's my best friend.
Right.
And we hang, and there's nobody I'd rather be with than Nicole.
Totally.
And I know you and Donnie the same way. But even knowing how great it was, I didn't realize how great it really was. So it's given me this renewed excitement for my marriage, if you will. But it's also made me a better husband, because as good as our marriage is, and I'm sure as good as you and Donnie's are, there's moments we can be better.
100%.
And it's made me think and notice those moments a little more. So maybe Nicole's even a little more significant now. Maybe our love connection is a little better, because I am consciously thinking about these things a little more. Right. And I wish that every married couple just understood this, and if they just worked on significance with each other, that would be a really big step.
It's huge.
Because when a couple is significant to each other, you come through for somebody who's significant for you, don't you?
Yes, you do.
You'll compromise for someone who's significant, right?
Yep.
You'll change your mind for someone who's significant.
That's absolutely
You'll
true.
even let them win an argument if they're significant. Even if you know they're wrong, you'll give it to them because they're significant.
100%.
So that's the biggie. So if we're really significant to each other, that's when the rest of it starts to come together.
Right.
And that's what I've learned. Now, a lot of therapists put love and connection first. But, couples stop with love and connection when they've been married 30 years. Sex goes away, but significance doesn't.
That's so true, Jon. That's like a beautiful quote. Can someone write that down for me? Because it was really, really good. It's interesting because when someone talked about this on your show, a couple, they're like, when we were together in the beginning, it was so great. And everyone can relate to that. The dopamine, you're in love, everything, the sex is awesome. And really, when you think about it, it's because you're present. You're so incredibly present with your new partner. You don't think about the future. You don't think about the past. It isn't until you get comfortable and then life takes over and you start going into the egoic past and future and bringing up your old relationships and bringing all that shit in, that the work begins.
And significance begins to diminish.
Yes.
You know, if you and I first met and we're in that stage of a relationship, it's the most significant thing in my life. Oh, I can't stop thinking about her. It's all blah, 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 blah. It is more significant than anything.
Correct.
But then that starts to wane, and now work is just as significant. And then time with my friends is just as significant. And now you're one of many significant things. But 2 months ago, you were the only significant thing.
That's
you know,
right.
and reality starts to settle in. But we have to work on that significance. We have to make each other feel important. That's a key part of marriage.
It is respect.
Could you imagine how you would feel if Donnie didn't respect you?
Well, I would be gone.
But if Donnie didn't think you were talented, if he didn't think you were beautiful, I mean, there are things that are really important to you, and your husband needs to give you that.
And I'm so blessed because he does.
Yeah.
And you know, it took me a lot of work. I went through many, relationships where I realized finally I deserved love. I took a break and had to work on myself. Because I think a lot of people forget to do that. We want to blame our partners a lot of the time.
That's right.
When really, if you're looking for outside external gratification, I need this. I did a little worksheet on myself that said, let me give it to myself. Let me give what I need to myself. And it was amazing how then I was able to move on into this beautiful relationship that I manifested called Donnie Wahlberg, the love of my life. And I don't need anything. I want things. But if I'm like craving that egoic need, I just stop and I give it to myself. And it's really helpful.
So do you realize how beautiful that is? So your marriage and Donnie are so significant to you. Everything else in life is completely secondary.
That's true.
That's a great marriage.
Oh.
With that type of significance, you can only be successful. You can only have good. It's when that significance diminishes that everything changes. But your significance with Donnie is natural. You don't have to fight for it.
No.
I mean, that's what genuine love is. So that's why I say you're one of my favorite couples.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so excited to do your podcast with him because when you hear him speak, he is... Well, to me, he's angelic.
Of course he is.
Jon Taffer, I love you. Marriage Rescue, Paramount Network. You guys have to watch the show. We play clips on it after it airs. And also his podcast, Podcast One. You guys can check it out. It's called No Excuses. Jon Taffer, will you give Nicole my love?
I will. It's wonderful to see you, Jenny.
You too. Thank you. Congratulations. And I'll see you on your podcast.
Look forward to it. Love you, honey.
Bye. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!